I think the presentation was done as well as if Mr. Peters would have been here. Thank you very much, Leo. For the next stage, the next person on stage is Hans. Hans was in the Middle East a few hours ago. Flew back to come and present in this presentation. Hans will, I'm not stealing his thunder, but he will talk about open data. And Leo, just 1 second, because I have to say one thing. Hans will present here in a minute. We'll explain how we managed to get access to 26 universities' databases to do some cancer research. And what he calls upon the politics today is make this data available also from European and Belgian universities to companies like On24. So I leave the word to Hans. Thank you, Hans.
Thank you. Hello everybody. Thank you. Thanks for being here. So yes, indeed this call. So let's talk about On24, but even more about what we need to do with this data, how to turn this data into knowledge and to use it, right? And even as a start company, you can do this. So I've worked 11 years in a multinational, big data, huge budgets, IMI, big economic projects of 20 million, 28 million. But guess what? You got a lot of banquets, a lot of travel, and a lot of paperwork, but nothing done. So for us, it's all about the users and the knowledge of big data. So at On24, it's in the biomedical space, so I won't go into details of that, but there's so much data out there, right? I will quickly explain some. So the big pharma is reinventing itself. They're opening data about clinical trials, testing drugs on people. Look at Ebola. It's trending on Twitter. They're trying to get the data together. So other stuff, patients are opening data. So I disagree on the fact of the privacy. Technology is there. I think 1/3 of here in the community can fix this. Is the privacy makers that really need to help us and make it happen. So very important for that because patients are engaging. They are opening up data. And next to that, there's so much data out there with the sensors, the wearables and other stuff. So big data, all the V's, but we focus very hard on the velocity and the variance of data. So all these data sources are spread all over. So what we want to do here, let me see if it works, perfect. So the thing is in these big companies, BI, business intelligence, is typically they're gatekeepers. They make dashboards, and once the dashboard is created, how easy do real users get access to it? How easy do cancer scientists get access to it? It's very difficult. So we want to turn from, oops, that's not good. We want to turn from the data control to full access. And we embrace chaos. We embrace, in the heart of our technology is semantic web technology. It's about an open world assumption. So you have the open data, you use the data, and you integrate the data, and you give access to users. Because really important is that the users can drive insights. So also in the big pharma, we have the bioinformaticians, statisticians, a lot of very smart people. We think we're smart. I've led these teams. But guess what? It's the scientists, right? That's 12 years in the diabetes area, or the Ebola experts. They know about the data. So we shouldn't be bottlenecks as data scientists, but empower the users to use what we prepare for them. This is explained in something that I'm stealing from Gartner here. It was a really good seminar of the next generation business intelligence, where you have typically the systems of records, the BI people. So I explained that they create dashboards, takes time, you need IT to get the dashboards, but once it's there, it's really easy to use and it's very comfortable. And then you have the other people. We call them the advanced analytics, the EMC squared guys, the bioinformaticians, statisticians. So these guys, they'll nail it for you. Give them some sources, they'll nail it. They'll come back with all kinds of statistics, they'll explain it to you and you can use it. But guess what? As a scientist, you need to wait for that. So both of them are bottlenecks. So this is why, and Gartner calls this next generation business intelligence, data discovery. This is why it's going to the center and the users again, who want to get access to the data. So they call it systems of differentiations, and you will see graphs coming back, and also in the semantic web, it's about graphs. It comes back, and I won't go deeper in there, but the key is that the users get access to it and can discover that data without any technological barriers. Now I will explain a little bit about Tim Berners-Lee. So I was inspired by Tim Berners-Lee and Steve Jobs also. I'll come back to that in 2 slides. But the semantic web. Who knows the semantic web here? Who use it? That's right. It's still for the academic geeks. So that's where I think Ontoforce makes indeed these deals. At MIT and also at the Qatar Foundation, we really had a lot of pickup because the semantic web is breaking through, and I think Ontoforce is really doing something there. Why? Because we focus on the users and not on the technology. So we made this linked data browser that's really unique so that this interoperable data becomes reality. Linked open data. We talked about open data, right? So linked data. So what does it mean? This is a chart of 6 months ago of all the data sets that are open and linked. So it means for the techie savvy people in RDF format. Or if you even have a Sparkle endpoint. So there's a query language for the linked data. And so I will show you what it means in the healthcare and life sciences. So I said, if you want to make a drug, it's 1.6 billion and 12 years of research. It's all silos of data, the biologists, the chemistries, the toxicologists, mice people, human people, all of that. How do you link it together? It's a mess. So this linked data is a solution to it. So you typically, when you have a question, you ask about proteins, then your expert of proteins goes in there, finds the answers. Then you need to know, oh, we found the interesting proteins for that disease. What molecules, potential drugs in the future connect to that? Again, you need to ask about it. Is it stable in the stomach? Is it stable in blood? All these questions. Then you go back and you say, let's go to the genes of it because that's the origin of the diseases. And you see all of these data sets need to be questions put together, and this data needs to be mined. And then on top of that, you also need to know where is this disease? And is this economically viable? Also, we sometimes forget about the payback. How will this be paid back? Very important information, which is called health economics. And so putting this all together is a hell of a job. And what we will do with linked data, we bring these data sets together in one graph, and it's easy to mine. I challenge bioinformaticians, they need 3 weeks to get this data together. Experts, 4 hours. And with the linked data browser, it's done in 2 minutes. And why is this working? And this is Steve Jobs, right? Design, it's not because it's just beautiful, right? Design is not how it feels or looks like, but it's how it works. So we did with Ontoforce, we did 7 iterations with 4 different UX companies on the UI. Why? Because it's crucial to success in software, also in data mining. So the mantra to our team, when I started Ontoforce, I said, you know, this whole data mining needs to be simple as Google, slick as Apple, and fun as Angry Birds. No trainings. People can use it immediately. And that's exactly what it is. They don't need trainings. 10 minutes, 2 YouTube videos, and off they go. And they can mine a wealth of data sets. Then coming back to the title also, so I explained a little bit what we do at Ontoforce and how important this UX and the semantic web is. But the other inspirer is Yoda. Do or do not. There's no try. So I left my nice job. So I came back today, economy. I'm not traveling business anymore. I'm in Airbnbs with 2 colleagues in small beds instead of the nice hotels. But guess what? I have a lot of fun and innovation happens. It works. Because startups really can do this. We're agile, we make decisions, and we can move forward. So why can startups do this? We're small, we're dynamic. We also make a lot of mistakes, but we learn from it very quickly. We eliminate wasteful practices. We have clear focus on what we want to do. In the big pharma and in the big other companies, what I heard about is you have all this decision making. You first need to write a business case. Probably you need a Six Sigma guy to stamp it because then it will move forward more quickly. All of these things. In a startup, boom, you go, you got a good idea. It's also how Google works, right? Dynamic teams, you put yourself together, there's no management. Go ahead, good teams will form themselves and move forward. Agile development, don't need to explain that, but very quickly and closely in the loop with the users. So the users define our roadmap. Investors are not really happy with that because it's very agile and it changes. But short decision cycles and all of that, and also your network needs to work and you need to be born global. So this is a call last week also. I had the luck to talk to some politicians like Philippe Meurders. But we really have to move faster in Belgium. It's happening now. We cannot lose the pace. We got all these smart brains here. We got great people. We have to do this. It's kind of a shame that also for us, we had to find a success at MIT and UCSD. We went to California. I went to a hackathon at Semantic Web Applications. I met a professor. 3 weeks later, we had a WebEx. 2 months later, we said, we'll be in San Francisco. We can drop by for half a day. We went there. We met the whole team. And after 6, we were off. And we have 200 data sets about antibodies in there. So that's the difference. We need to be more quickly. Also with Harvard, we had a deal after a tweet. It was a big seminar. And I tweeted about usability of these tools. And guess what? It's happening. Now we even have a contract to open up 26 Research Institute, the biggest stem cell database. That's even better because it's not disruptive technology, but a disruptive business model. And that means that now, when you need to search for the right genes or the right diseases, you have to go to the seminars, you have to read the publications. What we do with the Semantic Web is we provide data from the research institutes in that linked data format, so you cut all on the in-betweens and you can go straight to the data and not just what's being published. So this is something that will, hopefully we will hear a lot about it, but will definitely help research move forward. So I thank also all the partners, because Belgium is not bad, and Flanders not, because we had a lot of help from iMinds. We have investors, so we're very thankful for that. We have a great collaboration with Multimedia Lab at the University again, so there's a lot of good stuff happening, so don't worry about that. But again, call for action to Chris Peters and his cabinet and the other politicians. Listen to the startups. And this is where I really want to end today, and this is the most important message I want to send out, is the Startup Manifesto. The Startup Manifesto. Really, I mean it. I did some information integration for schools. I went to Ministers Met 3 times. And they said, no, small company cannot do this. Come on, guys. We've got the brains. I said, Cabinet Leiden even invested with us with the Sophie Fund. I'm sorry for my words. How stupid can you be, right? You invest in money, and we have to go abroad to showcase it and then come back. So we need to change that mindset, and the Startup Manifesto really covers it. It's really, read about it, because I only have 1 minute and I want to stop here, but read about it, do your work, and try to engage big companies, but also the ministries. That there's no big ambassading, and I hope the English word is not here anymore, but the ambassading, we can't do this as a startup. It's too difficult, it takes too much time. Horizon 2020, you know, what does it create from an economy? The PricewaterhouseCoopers and the writers, they get a lot of money. We have to wait a year or 6 months or longer to get an approval. So we need to change that and really be proud about our starters, stimulate them, and really do this, because I think that's where innovation happens far more quickly than elsewhere. Thank you for your time. And maybe just one last thing is, you have to have a why. Simon Sinek. Who saw Simon Sinek? I have 30 seconds, I think, right? Simon Sinek on TED, look it up. I'm also inspired by TED Talks. Simon Sinek talks about the why. So it's not only technology. We do this for the patients, because that keeps you going, and that has a mission. You have a mission in life. So we do this for the patients. We want to help patients. We want to make sure that we get drug discovery and medicines on the market more quickly with data science and data discovery. Thank you.
So you heard it. Help the startups. A lot of brains are available in startups. Make it for them possible to showcase their knowledge.